Yo, people, what is going on? Just give me 1 sec. Oh yeah, this thing is finally happening. Excuse how I look. I'm really, really tired. And I've been like bawling my eyes out for about, since Sunday morning, but on and off for about 2 weeks. Had a lot of shit going on. So if you're here, welcome to this place. This is called the Trauma Network, Out of the Fog, the Trauma Networking site. And it's all about trauma. Firstly, just to introduce myself, my name is Kayla. I go by Kayla S. This is my official YouTube channel. You can also find my website at www.thetraumanetworkingsite.com.au. And over there, you can get in contact with me. You can also be put over to my Facebook page where I will be hosting live talk shows that will be coming to you every Sunday. So I'm probably thinking Sunday evenings would probably be best. But I suppose the other thing is that it's also about like tying in with other people that are obviously going to be part of the talk show. And so it's really about making that time. However, I believe if we can stick to 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. So hi from Australia to all those peeps out there that are all over the world. So who am I? Well, my name is, as I said, my name is Kayla. I'm 32 years of age. I'm an academia student. I work pretty much full time. And on the other side of that, I am also creating this. So I'm a speaker and a trauma coach, trauma and healing coach. And my drive, my passion is trauma. That's where it is. So today I wanted to talk about owning your crisis. Owning the things that go wrong, owning your power in those places where people try to strip you of who you are and try to take away what is yours. Now, if you were here, then that means that either you're interested for one reason or another, you have a loved one that's been stricken with trauma, or you yourself are suffering from trauma. And the imbalances, I like to call it, losing of the the emotional balance, because it can happen, and it does happen very often, actually. Why does it happen? Well, it's kind of like the same thing as a broken bone, right? If you have trauma to your leg, if you're in an accident and you lose that leg, sorry, not you lose that leg, but you really hurt that leg, then that leg needs attention. That leg needs attention because it's had forced trauma, so you've hurt it. And you go through a cycle or a set of different experiences in order to heal that leg. Okay, so you'll go to a hospital, you seek that help. You get help from medical experts. You'll go for scans. And then often, a cast will be put onto your leg. And you might have to go for physiotherapy. Then we talk about recovery. You know where I'm coming from, okay? It's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing with emotional trauma, with the bad things that happen to us. Now, one thing that I'm going to say to you is that you need to find your power. That is one of the biggest things that will help you in your trauma, is finding your personal power. For me, it's my voice. You can't shut me up. You can shut me out, right? You can take away my inclusion. You can make me feel separate, all those things, but you cannot take away my voice. I'm so sorry about that, but you can't. That is my power. My experience is also my power. And can I tell you something? We hold that in common, because your experience is your power too. So, we look at the stuff that happens as like, I'm a victim. No, you're not a victim. You are not a victim. You are a survivor, because if you are still here, it's kind of like that leg I spoke about, right? If you're in a car accident, are you okay? Yeah, I'm good. I survived. So why now are we a victim of trauma? No, you're not a victim of trauma. You're a survivor of your trauma. You're a survivor of the bad shit that's happened to you. And everyone's going to stand around and go, you know what? The trauma and the victim of the trauma. Hell no. Hell no. You are a survivor. You get to own your story. You get to have that story. You get to wear that story. The other thing with trauma is that more often than not, we expect some sort of validation from other people who are never, ever going to give it to us, right? I've been looking for validation from my immediate family for years, and they are never, ever, ever going to give it to me, because the denial of something is stronger than the recognition. And that's just the way that it is. And that's cool. Still love them. I just love them from a distance. It is not up to me to give them the recognition for what you can do that. If you're someone who believes a woman out there, whatever, maybe you believe in many gods. I'm not here to have or to give a religious speech. I am here, though, to say to you that the reason why I'm doing this is because I have been to the bottom of the bottom. I have been to the bottom of the bottom. I have abused drugs. I have abused alcohol. I have been anorexic. I have chased abusive relationships. I have had a near-death experience where I was in a partial coma for 3 weeks with no family member by my side. I have been thrown out of home. I have had to find homes. I have been living and fighting since I can remember. Right? Now, look, I didn't have parents that were poor. I'm fortunate in that manner. I didn't have that. But what I did have were parents who were extremely inexperienced. Why? Because their parents were extremely inexperienced, and their parents were extremely inexperienced. And we are now in a place where we are able to own some sort of power in speaking out. Trauma, depression, it's not as taboo as it used to be. I would like to welcome you to the 21st century. But seeking validation from those that have caused our wounds and waiting for that validation is like watching your time in this life, on this earth. It's kind of like you standing there and seeing yourself constantly in the same place, waiting for the same damn train that's not coming. Now, I'm so passionate about this because half the time, let me tell you, right, everything that happens with us, did you know that your subconscious is 92% of your action? Your conscious awareness, your consciousness is a very, very minuscule 8%. That's huge. That is huge. So what that tells me is that what you create in your subconscious is what is going to empower your conscious, which is then going to empower the life action. Waiting for the train because your subconscious is hurting and is traumatized and is telling you that the train that carries hope is coming, is making your conscious awareness stand and wait, which is giving an action of time passing you by while you wait in that place of darkness. I am here to tell you today that when you get up, and look, if my language offends you, I'm very, very sorry, but I'm feeling extremely passionate today. When you get up and you go, you know what? It's true. Now, this has been said to me, and I love this advice. I'm going to say it to you. Fuck it. Fuck it. If you don't want to see how awesome I am, right? If you don't want to make me a part of who I am and what I deserve because I was brought up that way, this is another huge problem, but we will get to that. If you want to allow me to be disappointed because you cannot be humble enough to put your ego and your pride aside and create a welcoming and a warmth, cool, fuck it. It's time for me to move on. First things first. Second things second, trauma is something that is debilitating. It is debilitating. But every time that you succumb to that trauma, you give it power. You're hearing this from someone who is learning about trauma, embedded in trauma, someone who used to have panic attacks in her sleep, who has spent time in a psych ward. Yeah, that's right, a psych ward, because I tried to save a very, very good friend of mine's life and they died, right? Now, if you've ever tried to pump air into someone's body, you understand that, and had an emotional connection. Death is something that, it's a blackness, hence why it's called death. Okay, so no, I'm not just speaking for the fun of things. I'm letting you know that there is a way out. There is always a way out. But we need to realize that it starts with ourselves. It starts with ourselves. And I get, and I know, so they're waiting for a taxi or something. Seems to be having a pretty intense conversation. Keep my eye out if they need any help or anything. But your intentions start with yourself. One of my biggest issues through my trauma was that I was waiting for someone that I was brought up to believe should be there, right? Like my family or like certain people in my life, and they should give me that recognition and say, oh, here we go, I'll make it better. Guess what? No one gets to come and fix my trauma though. And the way that we were brought up, well, really, who the hell made the rules? Do you know? Do you know who made the rules? Have you met the person that made the rules? Yeah. The Bible. Now, if you're someone who's going to say to me, yeah, well, the Bible, no, the Bible didn't make the rules like that. I'm also someone who was brought up very, very religious. So I understand that it is important to treat others as we want to be treated, right? But nowhere in the Bible does it say that, you know, your family must stick together and your family must love you and your family. So don't worry about that part of things. What you need to do is find your people, find the people that are going to see you, that are going to give you the warmth and the love, right? The people that are going to nurture with love, not hate, with building up, not bringing down. Yes? You're already drowning. Let's be honest, trauma is drowning. So you are already drowning. You don't need anyone to come in and to push you further into deep waters. You're already there. What we need is that boat that's going to float, right? It may not have an engine, so it may not know exactly. So it's like a human, right? That human might not have all of the tools in that boat, but they still have the tool to help you to survive. Okay, they still have the tool to help you to survive because they're coming with that boat. And although the boat might not have an engine, and although the boat might not have too much in it with regard to what we need in water and food, it is still going to enable us to stay afloat. So when you get that reach out from that person that might not have it all, but is good enough to see you and to have your back, then you need to reach it out. Okay, you need to reach out. You need to respect their boat as they respect your drowning. That's where it's at. That is boundary. You need to respect their boat as they respect your drowning. We need to remember something. We're all individuals here. We don't all share identical personalities. We don't all share identical characteristics, but we are human. All right, guys, we are human. Now, I'm so sorry. I do have to cut this live. I have got a class to get to. But look, I'll be back on as much as possible. So if you like it, hit me up, give me a thumbs up. Cool. Thanks, guys.